We got another Prove It Basic Strategy video for you guys today. We got a pair of sixes versus a dealer's two. And before you turn this off saying who's not in their right mind to split their sixes against a dealer's two, I actually got this comment the other day. This is, someone was asking on one of my short form videos, they said, does this ever change? We're talking about splitting a pair of sixes. Is there any deviations? Basically what they're asking. And I said, no, you always want to split your sixes against dealers 2 through 6. And then this guy commented a bunch below this. This was at DJA Mel All Out I 2035. They said that putting more money on the table, meaning, normally if you have one bet and you split, you got to put another bet out there. They said putting more money on the table is not advised in a negative count. And so we are going to make a very negative count today. I got a bunch of 10 valued cards that we're going to kind of insert at the beginning of our shoe to kind of force that count negative. And we're going to see just in fact if this guy's argument holds up or not with a pair of sixes versus a dealer's two. All right, so with that said, I have kind of the cards that we are using here, pair of sixes versus a dealer's two. At the same time, I have two 10s, jacks, queens, kings, and aces that I'm going to shuffle into the first deck or so. And that's going to, like I said, force that count to go real negative. All right, so I got it in that part, and then we'll Pharaoh shuffle it into the rest like that. There you go. Give it some cuts. So I have no idea what that's going to do, except that it's going to force my count negative right off the bat. And we're going to see if this guy's comment about putting more money out in negative counts being ill-advised is true or not. Okay, so with my pair of sixes here, this is going to be my Ploppy or my non-card counter. They are just going to hit. All right, so whatever we get there against dealers two, they're just going to hit, because if you weren't to split your sixes, a 12, 6 plus 6, against dealers two, basic strategy says that that is a hit. So I figure that's probably what the Ploppy would do. If you're standing on that, I think that's even worse. That's probably a whole different video I could do. Whereas this guy, I'm going to move the cards over here, keeping whatever cards also come out in that same order. We're going to split our sixes versus a dealer's two. And whether we win or lose at the end, I have a feeling that either this guy is going to win more, or if they're both end up losing a few chips, I bet he will lose less. So it's probably going to be one of the two. And we'll see if we can get one of those results or not. As always, I'm gonna do the first 5 with you kind of out loud, keeping tally marks on my paper over here. And then I'll do the other 95 hands. We play out 100 hands of this. I'll do the other 95 in a hyper-lapse so I don't waste your whole day. Okay, we need to first take a whole card for the dealer. All right, so over here, my, let me get the chips out, I guess. My Ploppy is just going to hit. And look at that, they busted right away. So I'm going to take that chip from them. Whereas over here on this guy, okay, I am going to split these first. And remember, the jack came out next. So after I split, then 16 is going to stand. And 16 is going to stand. See, the count is already wanting to go negative there with those 10 valued cards coming out. Dealer has soft 13, soft 14, 14, and too many. So this guy ended up winning. And remember, I took this guy's chip already. So when I mark up our chart, the basic strategy guy won. I'm going to count that as a win. And the Ploppy lost. All right, after I got that marked down, I'm going to take all the cards back out, except for my sixes and 2. Reset that like this, and we'll do hand number 2 here. Got a whole card for the dealer. This guy is then gonna hit. Hey, 21, I'll probably win that one. All right, over on this side, so I gotta remember that was a 21. Over here, 15 is gonna stand, 16 is gonna stand. Dealer has 7, 16, and too many. So in this case, 21 won, as well as 15 and 16, since the dealer busted. So everybody was a winner, but this guy won twice as many chips. All right, so we're gonna say that's a win and a win. Okay, as I'm picking these up, just a reminder that we have 40 chips for each of our people over here. Don't think of these as red chips and green chips, but think of them more as just units. They're different colors to distinguish who's who. Got a whole card for our dealer. Gonna hit the sixes. He busted. All right, but over here when we split sixes, this guy's gonna stand on 16, this guy's gonna stand on 14, and dealer has 5, 11, 16, and too many. So again, this guy won a couple chips. So we have a winner and a loser. So far our basic strategy guy has not lost, but our Ploppy has lost 2 out of the 3. Okay, let's do 2 more before I throw it into a hyper-lapse. Put those back over here. By the way, as I'm gonna set up for hand number 4, if you wouldn't mind hitting the thumbs up button for me if you like this type of content. Also, if you have a hand that you want to see played out 100 times one way versus 100 times a different way, let me know which hand you want to know down below in the comments. Okay, got a whole card for our dealer. Gonna hit our sixes. All right, now we can stand on 17. Over here, this is another big reason why you do want to split your sixes, is for double after splits. Okay, so we're gonna double that one. And they have 14 and stand on 16. Dealer has 7, 10, ooh, and 21. So everyone is a loser there. Remember, this guy had, if I bring that back, they had 17. So regardless, 21 will beat that. So this guy did lose 3 chips, or 3 units, right? And this guy lost 1. But in both cases on the paper, you're gonna see that as a loss. So not all losses are created equal, just like not all wins are going to be created equal on this one either. All right, last one before we go to a hyperlapse. Got a whole card for the dealer. Reset my chips. This guy's going to hit. Too many. That's a loss. Over here, stand on 16. The other 6 going to split again. If we do it once, got to do it again. 13 can stand, 15 can stand. Dealer has 8 and 18, and I think all of these are losers. So again, 1 loss there, but 3 chips there, and you'll see a loss marked up on the paper for both. So going into the, oops, one more. Going into the hyperlapse here, it looks like this guy is down 3 chips, and this guy is even, okay? So I'll be back with you after the next 95 hands, and we'll see just who in fact comes out ahead, splitting our sixes versus a dealer's 2. All right, back with our results here with the pair of sixes versus dealers 2. I made a mistake, so I had to switch that. We got 51 wins for a basic strategy guy, 47 losses, 2 pushes. Whereas the Ploppy, the guy who hit their pair of sixes, they won 33 times. Looking up that upside down, they lost 61 times. There was so often where they would just pull, let's see if I can do it, they would just pull a 10 valued card, and that's just automatic loss. So I don't know, maybe if they're dumb enough to not split their sixes here, then they would stand on their 2, but I have a feeling that's going to be way worse, because that's a 12. That's awful. So by splitting, it was way better. Anyway, 61 losses and 6 pushes. I thought it was interesting there was more pushes with this guy than this one. I felt like they would have lost 1 and won 1 way more often, but that only happened twice. Anyway, let's go with a little chip count here for you. Remember, we started with 4 piles of 10. It's 40 chips, and so our basic strategy guy won 10. Just prove it to you there. Those are piles of 5, 5 and 5, that is 10. Whereas this guy lost 30, okay? These are the same size pile, and so he lost 3/4 of his chips, but 30 units, you might say, out of 40 to start with, whereas this guy gained a little bit. So this looks like it's positive expected value, whereas hitting your pair of sixes versus dealers two is definitely negative expected value. So kind of interesting in that front. All right, guys, again, if you have a hand that you want me to play out 100 times, I've done this list that's here on the screen already, including I'll add my pair of sixes versus a dealers two to that list. But if you have one that's not on that list, comment that down below what you want to see. Otherwise, if you do want to check out any others on this playlist, you can look right here at this playlist over here. And until next time, remember, this is A1 Blackjack.